Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. Hopefully the microphone situation is sorted out. Apologies for the last time I was at the desk when it was coming out. One speaker or one AirPod, earbud, whatever you use to listen to the content. Should be fixed now. And it should be fixed. Anyway, welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about the Blues, giving you my opinion, more importantly asking for yours, of course. The big talking point lately, or certainly around social media, and indeed in newspapers, publications, is Chelsea's midfield. Of course, I did a wall video yesterday regarding Darwin Núñez, the scintillating young striker that's been linked to Chelsea, amongst other big Premier League clubs. I talk about his elite goal return. Do feel free to go back and watch that video. It's a good one, but today we're talking about Thomas Tuchel's midfield desires. Of course, Mateo Kovacic is in good, positive, scintillating form, but there are being questions asked of Jorginho and N'Golo Kante and what will become of Conor Gallagher, a loney midfielder who looks like he's built for the Premier League with his sort of young, high-octane style of play. Of course, Thomas Tuchel referenced him today in his pre-match press conference when he talked about how he bumped into him in a restaurant and talked about how he was disappointed he's not going to be able to play at Wembley against Chelsea this weekend. But yeah, Tuchel goes on to say how he's a big fan of Conor Gallagher, and I am inclined to believe that, and I think he probably will be utilised next season, I think, because he just looks built for the league, man. I'm going to be referencing an article today from Liam Twomey of The Athletic. I'll link that down in the description, but also I want to let you guys know that this video is brought to you by Spitch. Ding, 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 ding. Spitch is wicked. It's totally free. It's fantasy football, and it's the best fantasy football you can play because it utilizes Opta stats when rewarding you points. Unlike the big fantasy football that everyone plays, you can play once a week, so if you miss a weekend, it's not the end of the world. Although you can play for free, you can win money, and you can play against managers from all around the world. I think it's available in like 30 plus countries. It's excellent, Spitch, and it's just an opportunity for you to have some fun without having to commit to the season, and, win a bit of cash if you want to, but it doesn't cost anything if you don't want to pay. It's bloody wicked. Go check it out now, Spitch, by clicking the link in the top of the description, man. Wicked. Cool, so thank you for checking out Spitch and clicking that, and let's talk about this article from Liam Twomey, of course, that will be linked lower in the description. Liam's always on top of, as most of the Athletic guys really, are on top of what's going on at Chelsea. Now, this article is titled, Kante and Jorginho, renew both, sell one, or let them leave Chelsea for free. Of course, Declan Rice, big talking point in the Chelsea fans. He scored yesterday again in a 3-0 away win against Lyon in the Europa League. It looks like, with Barcelona out, they're favourites to win. Incredible scenes for them. Of course, if they win that as well, they'll qualify for the Champions League. Will that mean Declan Rice stays at West Ham? You have to think, after all they've given him and he's given them, if he gets them to the Champions League, or if they get to the Champions League together, that to leave just as they get into the Champions League, you think he'd stay for another season, and it might suit him. He might get to sort of fulfill this Champions League dream with West Ham, and also know that his price is coming down a little bit, so he can have that sort of dream return to Chelsea, or failing that, I'm sure Man City or United will pick him up. Let's jump into this article. Not quote, but starting Thomas Tuchel's, Liam Twomey's piece. Thomas Tuchel has generally been in the business of sending public messages upstairs at Chelsea. Oops, not in the business. There's a big difference there. I could have really sold him short there. No, he's not in the business. And I guess that's in... you could talk about like Jose Mourinho or Antonio Conte are the kind of managers that are in the business of sending messages upstairs by like fielding weird lineups and making really weird comments about their squads. That's textbook Conte and Mourinho, but not so much Tuchel. Despite having no shortage of possible reasons to do so during this relentlessly dramatic 15 months at Stamford Bridge, but he made an exception when he was asked last week about the possibility of N'Golo Kante and Jorginho being allowed to enter the final year of their contracts next season. Tuchel said, "Nobody wants that. Absolutely." He insisted. "With important players, it's a wish a coach that we solve this in the summer anyway. It is clear where the journey is and what the decision is." Wow, quite poetic there from Chelsea's coach. "Then we will have the same talks about Tony Rudiger and Andreas Christensen," who I think pretty much all of us have accepted Christensen is off to Barcelona, though after they got eliminated by Frankfurt in the Europa League, he's probably thinking, what am I doing? But, he's probably getting loads of money. Anyway, "We must swap the names. We talk about it through the winter, then comes January, then the agents talk with these clubs, and the brother to the other." What does that mean? "It would be nice if we can avoid it, but in the moment, it's a bit difficult. Yes, this should be the target for all of us." Basically, ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Tuchel saying, I want everyone locked down, under contracts, as you would imagine a coach would, and then obviously if they're not playing, you could sell them or whatever. Let's read on. The 4 Chelsea takeover bid finalists, all who are keenly aware of Tuchel's sky-high approval rating among supporters, will have taken note. Yet both he and each of his prospective future employers would also like to retain director Marina Granovskaya, the executive who has been so steadfastly unsentimental in contract talks with the club's veteran stalwarts for more than a decade. Yeah, of course, she's been very good at contracts and negotiations. If you are interested in hearing more about Marina Granovskaya, I did a good video on, or I thought it was good, that's up for you guys to decide. I did a video on her a couple of days ago. I've spent a lot of time about it. I reckon you guys would like it, is what I'm trying to say, so go check out that video on Marina Granovskaya. Right, let's read on. "Her willingness to carry negotiations well into injury time," I love that, "coupled with the unprecedented UK government action that is bringing an enforced end to Roman Abramovich's ownership while paralysing Chelsea off the pitch, have left the club staring at the real possibility of losing 2/3 of their back three that finished the 2021 Champions League final for nothing this summer. Could be the entire back three in Rudiger, Christensen and Aspi, but of course, only recently we've locked Aspi down. Christensen is regarded as gone, like we said, while Rudiger's representatives feel duty-bound to explore all possible alternatives, even though the player himself wants to stay. Well, of course, we've seen his brother-in-law, his agent, do meetings in Barcelona till midnight to talk about possible free transfers, so he's doing, what an agent does and what you'd expect him to do. Next, it will be the turn of Tuchel's starting, quote, double six in Porto, presenting a dilemma that's even harder to solve. Kante and Jorginho are 31 and 30 respectively. Both are the wrong side of that fateful line that so often determines whether or not Granovskaya is willing to put a long-term extension on the table. Both are also only 5 months removed from featuring in the top of the 5 Ballon d'Or voting, effectively making them, by consensus, the 2 best central midfielders in the world in 2021. Well, that's how it works. That is how it works. If you're the 2 midfielders closest to 1, you're the 2 best midfielders of that Ballon d'Or year, ladies and gentlemen. It is not 2021 anymore, and the cold-blooded conclusion should probably be that such heights of individual performance are unlikely to be scaled again. This is interesting. I mean, if you think of when Modric dipped, a couple of years ago, and he's become absolutely amazing again, mid-late 30s, and you think of Thiago Silva as well, it's quite tricky. But then again, I understand what Liam's saying here. Look at Liverpool, they're so good, and this is what the best teams were. Ferguson at Man United was like this as well. You preempt a change before the change is needed. Everyone's was freaking out when Salah wasn't just given the money. Why don't you just give Salah the money? And then his form's dropped off, and Diogo Jota is amazing, and Luis Diaz is amazing, and they're just moving in this intelligent flow state of not just banging loads of money on Lukaku. Sorry, Rom, for using that as an example. There have already been signs of the slipping this season. Kante has made costly uncharacteristic errors in both Champions League quarter-final legs against Real Madrid, while Jorginho never fully appeared to recover his form after the year, basically after Italy. After he won with Italy, he's not been the same. It was amazing last season in the Champions League and for Italy in the Euros, but since he's not been great, has he? I think everyone, even the sort of peculiar Jorginho stans on Twitter would probably all admit that he's not been his, relatively amazing self. Much of Mateo Kovacic's recent form, punctuated by arguably the brightest display of his Chelsea career at the Bernabeu, has indicated that he may have already surpassed both. In the immediate sense, I'd probably agree with that. I'm pretty much sure you ask any Chelsea fan right now who's the form midfielder, everyone's going to say Kovacic. Just, it's not even up for debate. Beyond that, there's also been signs that Tuchel is looking towards the evolution of his midfield. Quote, ladies and gentlemen, from Liam Twomey of The Athletic, he loves, Thomas Tuchel loves West Ham talisman Declan Rice, as well as, of course, the aforementioned Conor Gallagher that we've discussed in this video, who looks primed to finally get his chance at Stamford Bridge next season. This is finally, he had one loan. While Monaco's prize young asset, Aurélien Tchouameni, remains focus of the club's scouting team. The thing is with Tchouameni is, I don't know, it does look like Real Madrid are closing in on him. And if they sign both those French young super talents in Eduardo Camavinga and Aurélien Tchouameni, they are truly looking for long-term replacement for the Kroos, Casemiro, Modric midfield that's aging, because those two youngsters, and then they'll be playing for their national team together. It's really good planning from Real Madrid. The ideal solution, ladies and gentlemen, would probably be for Jorginho and Kante to stick around and steadily recede into high quality squad roles as they venture further into their 30s. Similar to the graceful transitions made by Fernandinho. Well, graceful until it wasn't graceful the other day when he's like, I want to go. I want to play football. And Pep didn't know, apparently. At Man City, and James Milner at Liverpool in recent years. I totally get the comparisons, like the useful, experienced midfielders. But I still feel like there's a little bit of both Kante and Jorginho being done a little bit dirty here by being compared to James Milner. Do you know what I mean? And I know he's won a lot and he's been great, but I mean, come on. When's James Milner been in the top 4 Ballon d'Or? Unless I've missed something. But that would require both men to buy into a process that would see them earn less playing time and less money than they do now. Of course, both of them could go and get big contracts for big money at a La Liga giant or a PSG. Kante would get loads of money at PSG. He would. Yeah. But that would require both men to buy into a process, like I said, and the possibility. So, yeah, they could go elsewhere. Essentially, witnessing up close the success of Madrid, powered by a midfield with a 36-year-old Modric and a 32-year-old Kroos, might make that pitch even harder. And true, I get that, but hold on. So, Kroos is only a year older than Kante. And people are like, yes, they put in a magnificent performance, but often people still think, right, well, they still need to be rejuvenated, that midfield. They're not saying this is a midfield that will go forever. But the reality is, at the top of the Premier League, where pressing is king, is younger legs are required, essentially. Kevin De Bruyne and Jordan Henderson are the only regular starters aged 30 or older contracted beyond 2024 at City and Liverpool. Both are vastly superior athletes to Jorginho, and neither have Kante's concerning injury record. So I'm not going to read the rest of the article because it is behind the paywall. I'll link it in the description, but it's good work from Liam Twomey. Let's talk about the midfield before we wrap up. Yeah. Look, man, no matter who, even if you're the biggest Jorginho stan in the world, and I get it, he's a regista, he's a really cerebral footballer, he's great, he's wicked, he's also been hard done by just often incorrect perceptions, but he's not this conventional CDM that's gonna do really well in the Prem, especially when you play a little bit more transitional football, which often, like Liverpool do, Chelsea do under Tuchel. Yes, Sarri ball and stuff is great, and maybe Jorginho would do a little bit better in Man City than he would at Chelsea at the moment. But what's key and what's king? Tuchel is king. Tuchel's plan is king. Tuchel's plan is key. Tuchel loves Declan Rice. We need a conventional style CDM, and ultimately a Declan Rice, a Tchouameni would represent that, and probably bringing in a Conor Gallagher. I mean, it hurts to say it, man. I mean, it's nice because he's an academy boy, but I think if these recent games, like maybe even both games against Real Madrid, if Conor Gallagher's playing instead, I mean, obviously he still gives the ball away and he's inexperienced, but maybe we would have done better. Maybe we would have won if he played over Kante, which just seems mind blowing to say. And of course, like he wouldn't have the right to play over world-class N'Golo Kante, who, by the way, quarter-final, semi-final, and final got man of the match, I believe, last season. Says it all. That's what gives you the right to play. But like in hindsight, which of course is 2020, might have won if Conor Gallagher was playing. What do you guys think? What do you think? Comment down below. I want to hear you guys, what you're saying. Thank you to everyone who's liked the video and subscribed. You're all welcome to subscribe, of course. It's free. It clicks a button. Why wouldn't you want to do it? And do check out Spitch by clicking the link down in the description, maybe. Alright, that's me, fellas. See you soon. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.